Welcome to Bartolomeo Meo, Mugiwara fans. Today, I'm bringing a theory that has been round in my mind since I did the analysis about where is Lovetail. But the appearance of Otoki in this last chapter of the manga brings some hints that help me to complete it. We know that the Great Kingdom that existed before the Void Century was defeated by an alliance of 20 kingdoms that created the world government 800 years ago. We also know that this Great Kingdom was able to advance that defeat and entrust their Wano allies the task of carving indestructible stones, the message they wanted to leave for the future in what we know as poneglyphs. It's from this point my theory begins. It seems that was not the only thing that they left for the future when they advanced their end. As I commented in the analysis about where is Lovetail, it seems they also created the Grand Line. So I presume they did something to hide their island some way and turned it as the goal of a kind of bizarre racetrack. It has a very particular start point, the reverse mountain, which has an entry for each of the 4 isolated seas of the world and a single exit to the Grand Line. Basically, an invitation for people from all over the world to participate in this test. The reverse mountain is also the closest point to the goal, Lovetail, but created in a way that has no access to that site. The track itself is defined by a sort of barriers named calm belt that make the borders with the other seas, which seem to be created to avoid any kind of navigation through them. There is no wind that can make boats to move, and they're guarded by powerful beings, the Sea Kings. The size of these huge fishes seems to be the source of their power, but it's not their only feature. They're intelligent too. By the end of Fishman Island arc, we witness a conversation between some of these where, besides, they're showing loyalty to the Great Kingdom, since they were concerned about Noah, the arc that Joe Boy, the only character we knew from the Great Kingdom, had promised to use one day for what seems will be the exodus of fishmen to the surface. Actually, the Sea Kings explain their loyalty is to the Queen, who has always been a mermaid, Shirahoshi in this case. So it's clear here the close relationship between Fishman Island and that Great Kingdom. It's true, we didn't need a conversation to know about the bond between the Sea Kings and the Great Kingdom, since one of their 3 ancient weapons, Poseidon, we had just found out that it was all about the control of these huge fishes and that it corresponds with this mermaid queen. We could see too that those who had inherited the will of that kingdom were the only ones that could hear what they were saying. So calm belts, these borders that are the ones really making Grand Line to exist, could only be created by the ones that had control on the Sea Kings. Let's analyze this track itself. It's a line of sea sited in the equator of this planet, which starts in the reverse mountain and finishes in Lovetail. There, participants must pass multiple tests and dangers because it only makes sense for the goal to be very difficult to reach. These dangers seem fortuitous, but are they really? We were told, since the beginning, that Grand Line has its own rules for navigation. On one hand, we have weather can change drastically, and these conditions are getting worse as you advance. The weather challenges in the New World, the second part, are even bigger than the ones in the Paradise, the first part. If this is part of the test, the Great Kingdom had to be behind them, so they should have a way to modify the weather on different places. On the other hand, we have compasses do not work there due to the magnetism of the islands. So they need to adapt to the new navigation rules and use a log post that in some way controls the path to be followed. This is, there are multiple paths, but there is no link between them, in a way that once you start one, you must follow it until the end. This is only valid for Paradise. In the New World, these rules are getting more complicated and they need to use a special log post with 3 needles. And besides all this, the path is full of dangers. There are all kinds of beings, since it is there where the no-human races reside. Fishmen, giants, tontata, mengs. These seem to have a link with the Great Kingdom. Fishman Island, which we already explained they have a bond with the Great Kingdom, is a mandatory stop for everyone that have completed the first half of the track and want to go to the second. So we can see that at least some dangers in the way could be related with the Great Kingdom. Indirectly even, we don't know the origin of Devil Fruits yet, but it's been already pointed they are in the Grand Line, so the source of them seems to be in this track. competition comes with rivals, and these threats can make, and are actually making them, more dangerous. I would even dare to say that some islands were placed purposely. We know about a race that moved islands, the ancient giants. These people stood out during the time of the Great Kindom, and in that area of the New World. The school in Onigashima seems to prove the existing theory in the community about they had something to do with what Guano country is now, a group of different islands. It seems right to think they could have moved some other islands too. This takes us to talk about the participants, because the only incentive for someone to participate on this test to reach Love Tale is coming from the messages left in the poneglyphs. But these are mostly in the Grand Line, and besides, they're totally forbidden. But even if they weren't, why would someone care about what happened centuries ago to an unknown kingdom? This could explain why nobody has reached Love Tale in 800 years. But it seems they left something to guarantee some participants every now and then. There are some characters that inherit the will to go against the world government and reach in Love Tale, or, in other words, be participants of this test track and revenge the Great Kindom. What is called the will of D is inherited. This D has to be part of the surname, because if not, parents would stop putting it to the names. With this, we have that Luffy and Garp's surname is Monkey D. Let's recall Goldie Roger explained to White Bear that the world government was calling him Gold, but that final D should be separated. About Goldie Roger, he felt the will to go to Love Tale and manage it. He got the title of Kind of Pirates by reaching that goal, but is that a reward or just an incentive? If we are based on how Rayleigh explains this part of the story, the title of King of Pirates was something given by the people who were aware of his feats. However, it looks like he came back from Love Tale with one mission and nothing else. He found there the knowledge about the Void Century and that kingdom, and the decision he took after this is to help this kingdom on the revenge. He turned himself into the Marines and took advantage of the impact of his execution to encourage people to go to Love Tale by promising a big treasure, besides the truth that is already there. This is how he started the Great Pirate era. What we can deduce from this is that either or he was not the right man for the revenge of this kingdom, or that was not the right moment. I think it's this last option, since we got some messages from that crew about the future. Oden talks about what is going to happen in 20 years in his thoughts in the flashback with Goldie Roger, or Rayleigh mentions that they could do nothing about it by then. Just to give some examples, time seems to be a factor here. In a similar way, we've been hearing a message between the races that were related with the Great Kindom about a chosen one that will bring a new dawn. What we can deduce from this is this Great Kindom is not completely gone, and it can still come back somehow when Luffy reaches Love Tale, which means members of that kingdom still remain. I think Love Tale is inhabited by whether descendants of the people that was there 8 centuries ago, or even some of that same people that are not able to move at their will for some temporary reason. While connecting the dots, I realize I've already got a profile for these people. They're the good ones in this story, so they must be kind and decent. They had an advanced technology, so they should be wise. As we pointed, they must be able to control the weather in local areas of the Grand Line. They get along with all the races, but not with the world government. We already know characters like this. The ones in Waderia, which technology is currently using Nami after spending 2 years with them. We could see them controlling the weather in a specific area of Sabaody to help the Straw Hats. Who were they? They are not belonging to any official organism, and they seem to be there to modify the weather more than studying it. All we could see there, and all Nami brought from there, is meant for this. We don't know if there are more of these artificial sky islands out there, and as far as we know, nobody knows they exist. It even seems important for them keeping them secret. Well, yes, we know Kuma knew about them because, if not, he wouldn't be able to send Nami there. But he belongs to the Revolutionary Army, precisely the ones that are fighting the world government. Dragon and his closer ones are probably knowing about the Great Kindom, since they're working for the cause. We know Haredas was born in the sky as Lambirka 97 years ago. That's the same place where Enel was born, and there is an ancient city in the moon with the same name. This opens the path for theories about Enel's cover story and a possible relationship with the Great Kindom, which are out of this analysis, but it shows a possible link between Weatheria and the Great Kindom. I mentioned at the beginning that there was a hint related with Otoki in this last manga chapter. She mentions it's coming from 800 years ago. That Otoki was coming from the Void Century is something that we were all probably thinking. I thought even that she had been jumping through time, going through different periods of Wano history, but she was not. She appears not having been in Wano and precisely looking to go to there. Let's recall that, as we've been able to see, the ones sent to the future by her appear in the same place that they were. 800 years ago is not the Void Century itself, but the end of it, and of that Great Kingdom and the creation of the world government. So Otoki is coming from the final stage of the kingdom, when they were preparing all these measures for the future. So it seems she has a mission to accomplish in Wano. This makes me think that she's been sent to the future by the Great Kingdom as part of their plan. If so, her role couldn't finish with that curse about the return of the 9 samurai and her suicide. It wouldn't make any sense, as she has a simple way to escape of every dangerous situation. Let's recall that one of the unanswered questions about what Otoki did is why choosing 20 years? Why not less distance in time? This makes me think Otoki's plan is bigger than we thought, and there are more people involved than Kosuke clan and their allies. I'm not talking about the Straw Hats here, they can be put as part of the allies. I think we'll see Otoki again, and she will provide answers to mysteries related with the Void Century. Well, we'll see if that ends by happening, but what I'm pretty sure about is the test track left by the Great Kindom. I hope you like this theory, and if so, we may meet in another video. See ya!